If there was one piece of advice that you were to give for people that are getting into the industry, just out of curiosity, what is the one thing that an IoT vendor needs to get right?
Well, you want to go first?
Sure. I think there's several answers here, and I think they're all kind of equal. I think we're all on the same page for them, so I'll go first, and maybe you can fill in the other ones. For me, it's to make sure that you don't have any external-facing services that don't need to be running. I mean, we've seen these devices get broken into because they're still running telnet, which is an ancient protocol, which is used mostly for debugging, as I understand it, and you can sort of use it to maintain your system, but it doesn't check how many times you've attempted to log in with a password. It doesn't encrypt the traffic. It's really just a bad idea. We've also got boxes that are running things like DNS and SSDP on the outside, and they don't need to be out there. They're not really serving anything useful, but they're used for reflective attacks all the time. Right. So if you're able to just harden the outside of these boxes, get rid of the unneeded services, that's a good step in the right direction.
And I would also add, if I was an IoT device creator, if I was building devices, I'd want to build in some mechanism to be able to update it. So if there is a vulnerability, I can push a patch to those devices, but also do that in a secure way, using some kind of public-private key, authentication or something to make sure that there's no rogue software getting dropped on there. But I think a lot of device vendors have started to move to the auto update, or at least make users aware that there are new updates. Like I know I have a new home router that it has an automatic update feature built into it, whereas the one I got 5 years ago, that wasn't even a consideration. I had to go get something and TFTP it up, the new firmware up. Now they've made it a lot more easy for the user to take care of that. So that would be my recommendation in terms of helping secure the device.
How about you, Stan?
Those are all good recommendations. I think just considering the security of the whole system as it operates together is important. I mean, obviously, following best practices for closing things down or making sure you have an update process are important. But just considering how everything will interrelate to each other is also important, making sure that the whole solution is designed, which is why actually one of the projects I'm very excited about, because that's actually exactly what they're aiming to do, is create that framework that people can use so that they, all the components are kind of pick and choose. Secure communications they can do, and so there's a framework for that. Secure control logic, there's a framework for that. State machine analysis to make sure that as the sensors feed the data back into the control logic, that you don't get into some sort of a weird state. So all of those things are important as well, and so I'm really excited about that one project that is going to develop this framework.
I think as the one who started this game, I'm going to declare all of us winners, but I think John is the number one winner. I totally agree on the secure communications and connections. I think this is the number one problem, even in the mobile industry. And I think if you look at some of the mobile companies, the OEMs that are out there, their pedigree is in manufacturing refrigerators and kitchen appliances. And they've moved on to develop handsets. And there are some old school approaches to the need for updating software in kitchen appliances that maybe didn't necessarily make as much sense in the beginning of the mobile world. But now we're starting to see that mobile devices need updates all the time. And as we connect our kitchens, we're going to need to do those updates as well. And if there was only one thing I was to tell anyone who is doing IoT security, it is this, that they need to have their development team understand the difference between SSL, HTTPS, and TLS. They need to know that they go with TLS 1.2 for all of their updates, and they need to understand why that's important in the context of authentication and integrity of device updates. So John, you win. You talk about SSL and HTTPS and secure connections. That to me is my number one issue, at least today.
All right. So yeah, I guess we solved the problem. We just need people to follow our advice.